Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again with another reaction. And in this one, we are going to be looking at part 4 of the Army of Satan, back by popular demand. You guys can't get enough. So I don't even know how many parts of this series there are, but if you guys want to keep watching them, we'll keep reacting to them.
And explain in the comments why the heck y'all are so interested in this.
Yeah.
It's interesting to talk about, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely fodder for the old philosophical debate.
And one other thing, just before we get into it, we would like to do some reactions on some Islamic art stuff, whether it's music or like reciting the scriptures or something like that. So please leave some recommendations down for anything that you'd like us to react to.
Yeah, we did
like
the poetry one, and that did
Yeah.
very well, and it was fun to do. So
Yeah. So without any further ado, let's look at this.
He's always trying to break you down, to make you sat, to let you in the darkness from the very beginning, when he declared his enmity to mankind. And throughout the history, he caused evil and destruction between every nation. And today, he became much powerful than any time else.
There was a disclaimer at the front end of this video, like right under it, saying, like, talking about Freemasons and like this is what they do, and like it was one of those like fact checks. So, you know, anytime YouTube picks up something that might be considered controversial, it'll have like its own fact check thing underneath it.
right.
So this video, part 4, is about the Loyal Army, Illuminati, Luciferians, and Freemasons.
That's what this one's about?
Yeah, I think, this is focusing, I guess, on how Satan...
So that means we'll have one of those probably under our video.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. So
check that out if it's there.
That's worth checking out.
But they used to do that during COVID times. If anything was about COVID.
There's lots of subjects. This just, I guess, is a touchy subject. That's why it's there.
Yeah. Interesting that there was a goat there in that first image, you know, like the goat-headed satanic imagery, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been picking up from other religions, you know. Sorry, everybody. I've been checking out the other people's stuff, but I'm here to reveal some of that to you. Anyway, they talk this idea of a scapegoat. You know, Satan appears. Remember, who was it that we were talking about that was saying a scapegoat appears when there's too much jealousy and envy around like that, like this outside figure of a scapegoat. Meaning we all point at that and go, that's the evil one. That's the bad one, right, everybody, brothers? You know, or sisters and family. That's the bad guy. We're a good, bad. Let's beat him up and get him. Yeah. And it was a real thing. You know, like there was a real idea of a scapegoat where you put the sins on this goat and you cut its throat and then it's like, that's the bad thing. Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember there was this weird thing sometimes where we would blame inanimate objects. You know, if you did something silly or whatever, you know, I remember having a friend and we would be like, it was the wall that did it, from like our innocent childlike thing.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that psychology plays into all this. Because I noticed, like, we come from a Christian background and a Christian culture at large. And there's a lot of this, like, people getting together and being like, and Satan wants to take that from you. And people are more prone to be like, amen, to that than even sometimes good things. They'd be like, amen, he is a piece of garbage. I hate him. You hate him. You know what I mean? Like, So
hear it.
I'm rambling on, but I'm trying to understand, and this is what my thoughts are when I hear people like go into an extensive description of the enemy of your life. You have no idea. They're trying to break you down. If somebody walked up to me and was like, "Hey, you should lie around all day,"
Yeah.
you know, or like, "I want to fight you," I'd be like, "We're fighting now." You know, like that's a person I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Now, to say, you know, and it's not exclusive to one religion. People will say people can be agents of the devil or agents of Satan.
Yeah.
It's that you're not really fighting against that person.
I remember the conversation we were talking about. It was with one of the guests we had this week, that Christian mystic guy.
Right.
And maybe this plays in well to this video here, if you're watching this video, is that life is full of suffering. There's lots of suffering in it. And we want to have a reason for it, and we want to get it. And that's usually where we pin the evil, right? And so when times get tough, we want to make sure that we're not, you know, stuck with the hot potato that everyone thinks is the thing that caused all the suffering, right?
Right.
And so I see in this video, I haven't watched it, but it's about the Illuminati and Luciferians
I'm
and
not
Freemasons.
like that.
So what I'm saying is, I think that the hot potato is about to be passed to these people.
I'm not like that though. If I noticed that was a pattern happening, and somebody was like, "Nobody wants to be with a hot potato," give me the goddamn hot potato.
Yeah.
Give it to me. I'm not playing that game. I will find a hot potato. I'll make a hot potato out of dirt if I have to.
Yeah.
I'm the Satan then, if you're gonna play that stupid game, because it's nonsense and silly. You know, I heard a very smart thing one time when I was researching narcissism.
Yeah.
You know, apparently it's all over the place these days, and growing in women, or women are catching up to the levels of men that have narcissism. Anyway, the point is this. I was talking to somebody about this, and they said, I try not to judge somebody based on some label even a doctor gave them. Like, you are a certified narcissist. I don't judge people on something like that. I judge them on the literal, like, their behavior. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You could be like, yeah, I was diagnosed with narcissism, or yeah, I was diagnosed with anything. Yeah. But at the end of the day, how are you behaving?
Yeah. How's it playing out?
How are you
life?
actually acting?
Yeah.
What if Satan did something good? Do we still call him Satan? You know what I'm saying?
A new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
We begin to see the climax of a major change in society, the climax of a new world order. And we begin to see a type of integration between information technology and trade. We begin to see the economy, politics, culture, and ideology being transported simultaneously from nation to nation. And with this technology, with the ability to transport ideas, the very value systems of people, the way that they eat, what they enjoy to do, how they enjoy recreation, their racial concepts, their culture, their ideology being transported all around the world, a type of globalization. And with this boom in the information technology, and with this major event that takes place, now it comes to a culmination, and it starts to reach a high point. And so the innocent people, we look at this, and we say, what is going on? What is happening to the world that had...
Interesting, another fact of it is when anytime somebody's saying, hey, I'm an innocent one, is that usually the case? And anytime somebody's literally coming and saying, I'm the Satan, is that how Satan appears?
Yeah.
Or does he appear saying, I'm innocent?
Yeah.
How does he appear, man? I can't take it. I know you've like begged me not to freak out on this, but like this subject, I don't know what it is.
Let's stick with what he's talking about right here. He's talking about globalization, one world government. We've talked about this many times on this channel. There is a fear about this and someone losing their way of life for some new world culture that's going to come in and take over.
Yep, you're right.
And so, I don't know how it's going to look, man. I think globalization is inevitable. But it's going to take a while for us to get there. I think we almost have to come together. We have to find some uniting force as humanity if we're going to want to survive. How it's going to look like, what it's going to be like, I don't know. But I understand. I'm guessing that part of the fear being maybe pushed in this video, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you might lose part of your Muslim culture. Which is like, that's not unique to Islam. People right now are worried about, in small towns all over North America, are worried about losing their small town culture.
Oh, yeah. It happens.
Like, everyone's worried about losing their culture. Everyone's losing about everyone. So you're not alone.
People writing songs about it.
Yeah.
I'm losing my culture.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is all over the place.
So you're not alone. You're not alone.
Can we just promise ourselves something? Whatever the final winner is that decides how everything is, let's just do it let's all be on board. Let's do it and be like, we're all cyborgs now. We're all dressing the same. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen because I will be the defectoid. I'm the one that both understands that whatever the narrative is, we'd all be better to just go along with it. Yeah. Well, counterintuitively at the same time being the one that will make a mess of, not go along with it.
There'll always be someone to fill that role.
Yep.
So many different varying views.
I'm archetypal.
Different nations, different ways of approaching things that can complement each other. Now we see politics is stripped of real power. That the economy governs all social exchange. We see that the states serve the financial power structures. That the real power is no longer in the hands of the generals.
I got something that believe it or not, this is a real thing I'm proposing forward because I'm a bit of a trendsetter. And one of the trends I would like to see happen is lofty bombacity becoming embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, I like nice cars and I like glitzy things and I like being center of attention. I like it. But I think it would be neat if it became a trend to be like embarrassing to be like driving around in something everybody else can't afford. If you started that ball rolling, you could get people like, what if it reversed and it wasn't so cool to be a kingly, regal, draped in beauty, surrounded by amazing things, and it became a competition to see who could be the most minimalist, who could share the most. That literally became like the ballinest, pimpest thing to be. Like, and you don't even talk about it. Yeah. Like, have you seen what's his face? He literally doesn't own a thing, walks around like Jesus, and saves people all day. That's like, he wins. Freaking Gary down the street bought a BMW. Oh my God, seriously? You know what I mean? Like, let's get the reversoid thing happening. See if we can do that. And because otherwise, what, we have to play pretend. We have to be like, I'm so humble. Like while wearing a crown. Like, it's nonsense.
Well, you know what? We actually have seen it, just a tiny taste of that, like someone like Elon Musk selling off his property in his home.
I love it.
To live in a trailer.
And people hate him. People hate him. I make parodies of him online in something I won't mention here. Yeah. And it's amazing how much of a kick people get out of like punching upwards at Elon Musk. I don't even have a problem with him. But I find that if I make content that like ridicules him, people like it. It's so weird.
But the real power now switching to the hands of the people who run the economy, to the banking systems. And then we see that politicians play the role of public relations officers only to control the masses, either by lulling them to sleep or by terrorizing them. And then we see that the masses of the people become helplessly preoccupied. Their lives are now bombarded with a series of cultural events.
I realize the conundrum that I'm in here with all these rants that I do. I apologize, everybody. I understand that there's a real thing that they're facing, with all this, especially this subject in general. And that, like, I'm talking to an audience about crazy ideas that they've got zero interest in. You know what I mean? Like, question everything. Question the thing that you're believing. And they're like, that's not what we came here for. We didn't come here to question what we already decided is true.
Maybe they did. Maybe we're on part 4 now, so you've got to.
Well,
know,
maybe.
you got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, but this one maybe takes the cake for rantiness.
And these cultural events start to become the most important things in their lives. The World Cup, the Major League Series, the rugby, the cricket, the hockey, the tennis. Whatever the sport may be, we see whole nations coming behind sports. And the national heroes become sporting people. Even in Saudi Arabia, even in our own Muslim countries, the national heroes are now the soccer players.
Yeah.
Who kicks the little ball inside of a net? He becomes the hero of the nation. When people are dying on the...
I love it though, because that is a byproduct of capitalism. Like people are like, people get so frustrated to be like, I just want my hard work and my ideals to be the thing. I don't understand this. It's like, well, you know, you use that to your advantage, and then a weird byproduct is something you have zero interest in ends up taking off. And you're like, can't they see how stupid this is? It's like, it doesn't matter. That's the culture you live in. If you if you can have success, then anyone can. And the stupidest thing, you know, the thing that you didn't anticipate happening happens.
Yeah.
You know? Over and over and over and over and over.
The ground. But yet we become preoccupied with this. And it becomes a type of indoctrination happening to us. And with the use of powerful music playing on our emotions, with videos now being taken to the furthest extremes in the planet, people's thinking processes are changing. People are now in love with the superheroes, even confused about their own identity, trying to change themselves, change the color of their hair, change their eyes, change the way they dress, change the way they talk on a global level. And then we see drug addiction reaching a point that humanity has never seen before. And after traveling to over 36 countries, looking at the Muslims and being with them, I have found that in all of the communities that the young people are being confused with drugs. It is pouring into our countries. No matter what form it takes, cocaine, LSD, psychedelic, depressants, put you up, put you down, confuse you, but create a false world and give you a false dependence so that you become dependent on the chemical.
Some of the most solid people I know don't consider how they feel.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm only thinking of one person actually in particular. That's how few people I think that's how special I think this is. It's one thing to be like, I don't consider how I feel. Now believe what I believe. It's one thing. You're possessed like a puppet.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to be like, I don't consider how I feel and I don't believe in anything. It's like, what? What else is there? Once you discard like being possessed by an ideology, once you discard being possessed by an ideology, which is 99.9 to the highest power amount of people, they're all possessed by ideologies. Once you discard that, what is left but like gratification? Now to discard everything and be like, I don't sit around thinking about how I feel. I do what's next to do. You just stumbled here on the what enlightenment actually is. Isn't it? Is it not? Isn't it so?
Isn't it so? Very Sadhguru-y. Yeah, like I'm just trying to like I'm trying to put together what you're saying, mix together with what he's saying, and like I think what you're talking about is quantum leaps above kind of even just the straight message that he's trying to get to here.
He's talking about all the
distractions.
Yeah, yes. But the reason why everybody is so drowning in substance abuse is because they've walked away from their fundamentalist religions. He is correct. When you abandon the glue, that will make you trudge through the mud when it's not fun. Life isn't fun. But God, you'll do it anyway because it doesn't matter how I feel. You know?
Yeah.
And that's effective. It's been effective for thousands of years. But we
Yeah.
are on the age of information. And you've got people like me ranting at you and shaking your mind up and making you question your faith. When it's gone, what has happened in the West, because we're, you know, that's what we've already arrived there. We've abandoned a lot of our fundamentalism. The next step is extreme hedonism. Is then I'm just going to gratify. If nothing makes sense, I'm going to be drunk from morning to night.
And then what happens after hedonism?
And then you realize that's empty too, and that's not sustainable if you make it. God forbid something happens to you and you don't even make it through that. It's a serious problem.
I think knowing about that step, could protect you from it.
Right.
So what I'm saying, I think if you're watching something like this, if you're fallen into the hedonism, there's light on the other side.
Yes.
And you don't have to go.
Well,
you don't have to go down that road so
no,
hard.
if you believe that there's light on the other side, that's another belief. You've just transferred your belief that there's light on the other side. You've switched out with your old fundamentalist belief. Yeah. No, stop believing in things. Give up completely. And then see what happens when you be as vain as you can be and take a zillion selfies. See what happens when you buy the biggest boat, when you try to... When everything is done, there's a term in, I believe, Buddhism called loving your sin to death. You know, and it's dangerous. Try to be wise about it if you're going to do that, and take it seriously. Take even your nihilism seriously. What if everything is meaningless? What if there's no meaning? You know, think about King Solomon. You guys are familiar with Solomon. Think about where he was at when he wrote Ecclesiastes. It's an important step is moving through that, and you can't move through it like ape moving through it, like, oh, I'm so nihilistic right now, nothing means anything. Yeah. Secretly I know everything will mean everything. No, you gotta like really go all the way down. But this is quantum physics talk compared to where we're actually at. He's trying to address the problem at hand where we're actually at. The people are walking away and he's blaming it on Satan.
Yeah.
Which it could be.
Yeah.
You forget about Allah. Your God becomes the pusher. Your God becomes the chemical. And so creating this dependency amongst the masses of the people.
There's that triangle, pyramid. What is that? What does that word mean?
This is a dollar bill, which is the now devalued dollar bill. And on the back of the dollar bill, there's a seal on this side. It's called the Great Seal of the United States. That's what it's called. It's their seal. Now, behind the seal, this is actually what is behind the Great Seal of the United States, is a pyramid with one eye. Now, the one eye is the sun god, Re, which is where we get the word rays, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god of the Re.
13 5-pointed stars, and when you draw lines between them, you'll draw a 6-pointed star.
If the hexagonal star is lifted out and placed over the image of the pyramid, its points indicate specific letters in the Latin inscription surrounding it, which are thought to be an anagram.
Inside the American Dictionary is the
Those
word
letters
anagram,
Mason?
which is the intentional scrambling of the letters of a word to conceal the real word. So if you re-scramble, you get Masons. This is how we know that the Masons originated the drawings for the Great Seal of the United States.
It's real.
This search for concealed meanings in the iconography is not confined to the imagery alone. It is claimed that the number 13, the most ominous number in Western tradition, is hidden throughout the symbols on the $1 bill. They point out the repetition of the symbolic number 13.
Imagine trying to explain that at a party, like, if you take the 5 stars... What? What are you talking about? There's 5 stars on an American bill. Just stay with me. If you take those and you trace it star over it.
I don't know this stuff, man. The when it gets into this, look, maybe there's some validity and some truth in some of this stuff here, but man, when you start pulling things off dollar bills and switching around and drawing lines to point, you could find that in anything. I guarantee. Go look up some guy who's probably gone through a Quran and tic-tac, like every 17th letter of the 15th surah spells this. Like, you will remember the Bible code stuff, the nonsense that they used to peddle back in the early 90s?
Yeah.
Well, like, they go through, like, the letterings of the Bible and, like, put together, like, it's code. It's code. I'm like, man, you can find it in anything.
You are correct that you can find it in anything. Like you literally could pause this video and be like, look at the way they shape their beards. If I trace over it, it points to his, the middle of his forehead or something.
Does everyone want to have a panic attack right now?
Oh,
I have literally a triangle tattoo.
How could you?
It's like I did that when I was stupid and 20.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get a Celtic cross with the thing in it. I'm not a part of the Illuminati.
It was so funny because it had all kinds of Christian connotations. You were like, this has to do with the thing relating to Jesus or something like that. This is like the flames of the Holy Spirit. I remember you like explained it, but it looked so occult. It looked like an occult symbol. I forget you have that all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
But not to criticize this, because actually there is a level of thinking about this where it is kind of like that. There are signs and symbols everywhere. And in fact, I often think that an element of that is the subconscious. People are subconsciously communicating things all the time. Artists are, I think, notorious for this. If you analyze their work, you can tell he's this kind of a person because of, look at his art. Why did he draw 1 million cucumbers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, there's validity to it.
There are 13 leaves on the olive branch in the eagle's right claw, 13 arrows in the left claw,
Seriously,
13 stars above the eagle's head, and 13 bars and stripes on the shield.
Count the feathers. You'll notice that there are 32 feathers on the bird's left wing and 33 on his right wing.
This is understood to refer to the 33 degrees of masonry introduced by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, America's most prominent Masonic order, whose national HQ is in Washington.
If you look, you'll see the pyramid is built except for the top. It's built except for the top. The eye is suspended above the top. It hasn't come down yet. Because they believe until they finished the Masonic project, which is the what they say on the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, and then Annuetta Chapters, he is pleased with our project. In other words, the God they believe in is pleased with our project. What is the project? This is the question.
It was so long ago when that was made. Is anyone even alive anymore since that thing? Like, what if there was that going on, but it's like nobody even knows anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you think like...
Yeah, maybe they just had more time on their hands and they're like, hey, let's make this. Maybe it was Freemasons making the bill, and they were like, let's just put all our stuff on there.
Yeah, like when Trump became president, they were like, ready for a bombshell? Yeah. Yes, this was all based on a secret thing. There's a whole new world, but it's not anymore. You're president. Yeah. Why don't you get that stuff off the bill? I don't know. It's been the way it's been.
It would cost too much money for them to print a whole bunch of new dollar bills now.
Just maybe. It's a thought.
Yeah.
You know?
What is the project that this God is pleased with? The project is literally the secularization of the world. To completely strip the world from religious beliefs. This is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new secular or worldly order.
Or New World Order. Does it say New Worldly Order or New World Order?
Open your mind. Well, we made it. That was part 4. We survived. We made it through. It seemed to trail off there for a bit. It seemed to be kind of unspecific about the Illuminati. It had some stuff in there, and then it was off, and then it was back on again.
I can clear that right up for you.
To
Satan.
That's why. The big. I thought the big takeaway though was that seeing globalization as a bad thing.
The trick with all this stuff, the trickiest thing is you will be wrong, crazy, weird if you're not properly socialized. But I want you to open your mind to the reality of what socialness is. You should be able to just look at someone and say what's true to them. And I'll be the guy saying true things, and the other person respond accordingly. Oh, that's truth. My bullshit won't fly here. But what happens is you'd be how did 2 animals from every kind get on the ark? Say some shit, just debunking some old Bible story, and the people not go, oh my God, he's questioning the Bible. Obviously you're wrong. No cheap social tactics. Just answer my fucking question. How, why don't you see any miracles like that anymore? Without it devolving into some you're threatening my beliefs and my social thing. Just respond with logic and truth. But we can't, it's not like that. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get that what we're doing here. You don't actually just say the truth. Get them! They'll kill you if you just say the truth, man. That is the real problem. That's the real devil. The real devil is not being able to just say hey, I don't feel like believing in this, and yawn in someone's face. They'll be destroy him, infidel! What? But if that's true, if it's the truth, then I don't feel like doing it. Why do you gotta call it some fucking mysterious thing? It doesn't make sense.
What was the thing that was called the mysterious thing? What are we talking about?
I'm saying I find it frustrating that you can't just point out what is true and be honest about your actual experience. That we get buried and drowned in protocol, in what did guys that were thousands of years ago say? And manners and all these different things. They squeeze out any truth out of you. If you want to be a Christ-like Messiah, just start being spontaneous. Don't plan what you're going to say.
Or an Allah prophet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you want to be a prophet of Allah, be the one person in your family or group or whatever that's spontaneous and says what you actually think about things. And what you don't like. It takes bravery.
Honesty.
It takes bravery to be the Messiah. You can't be a coward. You got to be brave and be willing to take the beats.
Well, that's a good point. Leave it on that one. I think that's a good one. And guys, thanks for sticking around. If you made it here, that's good. And if you liked our reaction, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everybody. Until next time,
stay spiritual.